Fancy on the track, boy.
You the one, and the two, and the three, four. Let me down when I found everything slow. Ain't nobody else around you, elite though. Put the seed in the ground to help me grow. On me, you deserve everything. I be thinking about the world.
Hi everybody, this is Faye.
And I am Dolapo.
And this is Terminal 234 Podcast.
Yes, sir.
Welcome back. Long
back.
time no speak.
Mm-hmm.
No see for those of you looking at us.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's been a minute.
It has. It's been more than a minute. I don't know.
Where you been, Dolapo?
I've been in my house. Where have you been?
Same, likewise.
Okay.
Also been in my house.
Yeah, I've been in my house, you know. It's been a long year.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy year, I think,
Yeah.
in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. We're here. We're alive.
Let's level set. So it's been way longer than a minute, like you mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
Our last episode dropped, I think, February of this year.
If you say so, I believe you.
022022.
Wow.
February 2022.
That's deep. That's deep. Wow.
So,
Wow.
yeah, for like 10 months, we haven't dropped an episode. It wasn't planned, guys. We definitely didn't intend on having such a long hiatus. But if you've been
Mhm.
listening to us for a while, you know we take breaks post-season. So
Of
this
course.
isn't anything new. It's just the length of time is a bit much.
Yeah, we've never had a break this long. I mean,
Yeah.
usually whenever we have a break. So what happens is at the end of the season, we're like, all right, the season is done. And then we go away. And then after an unspecified amount of time, we're like, all right, let's, when do we want to start recording another season? Like, what are we going to do next?
Yeah.
But then like that just didn't happen as quickly. And then it just like that conversation somehow dragged on for a really long time.
Mhm.
And that's how we ended up here.
Yeah, here we are now. But I mean, I guess the good news is it was just a hiatus.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't an end. You know,
it's not that.
we are back.
Mm-hmm.
We'll talk a little bit more about what that means later on in the episode, in this particular episode. But this isn't an episode that's starting off our new season by any means. This is just like a bonus. Like, we didn't want to enter
Mhm.
2023 without you guys having nothing to listen to. So we figured we would drop a bonus, and then by the end of this podcast you'll hear a little bit more about what our upcoming plans are.
Yeah, this is like the show before the show. You know, you have
Mhm.
to, get it warm a little bit. Be like, okay, the artist is coming out. Just hold on. You guys are here to see Ashake. Yeah, wait. Listen to like 5 other artists.
Right.
Though they don't do that for Ashake. Ashake, they don't do that. Like, he
Mhm.
just comes straight out.
Yeah.
I actually saw, sorry, we're going to go a little random because why not?
Mm.
I saw he did a show in Nigeria, I think like,
My sister was there
oh, wow.
Yeah.
I heard that he started the show and finished it like quickly.
on time. Yeah.
And people were disappointed because they were late
It happened really quick. Exactly. He came out like
when he was supposed
in a
to.
timely fashion.
Yes.
Luckily for my sister, she was timely, so she got to see the whole thing. But that makes sense. If people were like
People were
planning
late.
based upon
People were like, they arrived there after he was done. I'm like,
yikes.
yeah, but he does that because even when he came to DC,
Yeah.
I went to go see him, and it was. I mean,
Oh,
we weren't
were
late
you
on
at that
purpose.
mess of the wait, you said
No,
DC.
no.
You
I didn't
weren't
go to
at
Baltimore. No,
yeah.
no.
Oh, okay. So
I
he
went to the
performed in DC prior to the Baltimore show?
Yeah, he performed in DC like let's say on a Friday, and then he
Mhm.
performed in Baltimore like on a Sunday, same weekend.
Okay, because I heard that, but then I was like, I thought. Anyway, let's not get into that right now. But either way, I thought it was somebody being misinformed. I'm like, no, he went to Baltimore.
No,
But,
no.
okay,
Yeah,
has two
he
shows.
performed in both.
Okay, okay.
And we were a little bit late as well because that show was also a mess.
Mm.
It just wasn't as bad
As
as like
bad
the
of a
Baltimore
mess.
one or the London one. And,
Uh-huh.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
so this episode is essentially a wrap up of 2022, kind of.
It is.
So we can't talk about 2022 without talking about Shaka
Of
because
course not. You're
yeah.
jumping the gun. I was going to bring that up when we talk all the music stuff, but it's okay.
Yeah,
Sneak peek right now. We can allude to it now.
yeah. I mean, I don't know. There's Shaka is everything.
This was his year
Mhm.
for sure.
The year of Shaka.
But well deserved.
Oh,
You
of
know?
course. I mean, I don't know. Well deserved. But yes.
You don't think his album was fire?
No, his album was really good.
Yeah.
You know what it is? It's the word deserved. I have a problem with that word recently.
What's the problem with the word?
Because people just be saying people deserve stuff.
Well,
and I'm
in
like,
this
I don't
case,
know.
do you think
do
I
they
was too
deserve it?
liberal with its use? I think in this case,
I was
made
thinking
sense.
deserve. I was thinking about it like before he made it. I don't know
Oh,
what like.
no,
but
I
I'm
just
sure that he
mean-
deserves it. Usually
yeah, I
don't
just mean
get
the
stuff
fact
like
that we're
yeah.
saying that it's
Oh,
his
no.
year,
Of
like,
course.
is well deserved based upon the music he
Oh,
released.
of course,
too.
of course.
Yeah,
That's
so-
undeniable. Yeah. I'm just like, people be like, oh yeah, like Messi deserved the World Cup. I'm like,
Again, we're jumping the gun. I'm pretty sure you have plans to talk about that.
Listen, I'm unruly right now. I haven't recorded a podcast or this podcast in the longest time. So I have
out of practice.
I have a lot of thoughts. I just, So what?
We have a little audience.
Yeah,
guys.
I just want to say everything on my mind right now. Mm-hmm. But no, let's go back to the order. Let's go back to the list. Okay. You guys know I have my list here, my pen and paper. All right. So we are updating on the podcast. Do we have any more updates?
Wow, I didn't need you to go that structured all of a sudden. We went from unruly to now you're literally reading off.
Okay, we're gonna do an update. Update number 1. How many updates are we giving?
So we've given the update on the fact that the podcast is not over. You guys have plenty to look forward to in 2023. Another update is just that me and Dolapo were living life.
We're alive.
Involved moves and settling into new locations and just that kind of vibe. Jobs shifting for me. I don't know about you.
No, my job didn't change.
He's always stable. I'm the typical millennial, always moving and grooving. But all good news, all good stuff.
Positive
changes, and we've had just a hell of a year. Nothing crazy fun though. I feel like 2021 I was up and down taking trips, doing things, whatever. This year I was pretty low key. I kept it pretty simple, pretty basic.
Yeah, no, I came into this year knowing that I was not trying to do a lot. I already knew I'm not leaving the country. No one even if you invite me, I'm not coming, so there's no point. So, kind of set the expectations early of I'm gonna stay in country. I'm not doing anything crazy. It was a year for me anyway. It was a year that I wanted to just be about
stability
and hustle and that kind of stuff.
Okay, long-time listeners of the show know me and Dolapo are different, but somehow very much the same. We're always on the same wavelength. Maybe it has something to do with our Sagittarius thing.
I was about to say that. I'm a believer now, guys. Now you're I'm a believer.
I don't know, but we're always somehow on the same page. So yeah.
Apparently, I think we're supposed to be in a good mood today.
And we're both in a good mood today. If you guys can't tell,
listen, the signs are real, guys. The signs are real. Go find out your sign. Your moon sign, your sun sign.
It all means something. Mm-hmm. But anyway, all that to say, we both kept it pretty simple and chill this year. But do you think that's going to be different in 2023? Because I want it to be.
Hopefully.
I think I want to shake shit up.
I think 2023 is going to be... I don't know. I always think every year is going to be this is going to be years. It's going to be crazy. This year is going to be that. But I think 2023, especially off of for me, 2022 was very chill. Mm-hmm. And I feel 21 was actually chill as well. I feel since the pandemic, I've been inside. Okay. So,
sorry, I don't know.
I thought we were gonna, save it for later. Okay, let's not save it now. Let's ask 21 questions.
Your unruly behavior just rubbed up on me.
Yeah, anyway. No, that's contender for album of the year, but whatever.
Absolutely.
But I think 23 is gonna be good, man. I'm always optimistic. I'm an optimistic person, so I'm 2023.
I think I'm gonna meet the love of my life, guys. I'm putting it out there.
Going to meet or going to solidify?
Meet.
Okay.
This year was the ending of whatever would have maybe carried into 2023. Mm-hmm. We're not carrying any loose strings into 2023. It's all new vibes.
That's what they always say.
All a clean slate. Okay.
Clean slate. All right. I believe you. I support you.
That is what they all say, though, including myself.
Yes, no, definitely. Oh yeah, what? I'm dropping on my baggage. Blah blah blah. I'm cutting some people off. Deleting numbers.
No, I don't cut.
I'm not taking people with me to 2023.
I don't be cutting people off, actually. So you're right. There are going to be some stragglers, but they're not the love of my life. I think I've decided.
You've decided. That's good. That's important to know.
Assuming I'm going to meet the love, but who knows? That's what I'm putting in.
You're going to meet the love of your life in 2023.
Yeah. How about you? What are you manifesting?
Manifesting, just more money, man. I need more money.
Yeah, more money.
I love more money.
More life, more money.
More money, more life, more blessing, more love, more of all the positive things.
More everything.
And comfort, man. I just want comfort. More comfort. I just want to be comfortable. Period.
Yeah. I love that. So. Okay, are we done with bullet point number 1, updates?
I'm done with it. If you want to move on, it's up to you.
I think we're good,
whatever you say, we do.
Okay, I think we're good.
All right. Bullet point number 2.
Yes.
All right, guys.
Look at that. We're just grooving already.
Okay, guys. Sorry. That's Ashake again. Mm-hmm. All right. Number 2. we wanted to talk about what happened this year.
Yeah.
So, of course, because we've been gone for a really long time, we unfortunately did not get to talk about so many things. So many things, we wanted to share with you guys. The slap heard around the world. I mean, so many things. We're obviously not going to cover everything because
we don't.
That's
have
just
time for
not
that.
possible.
Yeah.
We're going to highlight a couple of things. Just some of the things that we're probably going to never forget from 2022. Like the slap heard around the world.
Absolutely.
So where do you stand on the divide? Because there is a divide. Like, I guess we should talk about what the slap is.
Oh, sure.
I always assume people know, but
I would
doesn't
expect
hurt.
you guys
Doesn't
to
hurt
know,
for us to tell them what
yeah.
slap we're talking about. I think it's only one slap this year. It's the Will Smith, Chris Rock, that whole thing, that whole debacle with like, yo, that's my wife, man, or whatever he was saying, like da 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 da.
Yeah, basically, so Chris Rock was hosting, or was he even hosting? I don't even think he was hosting. I think if he was hosting, okay, he was. I know though that there were other hosts, so he wasn't the solitary host for the Oscars that year. That's why I got a little confused. But anyway, that's much to do about nothing. With that said, he was hosting and made some jokes, as they always do, given he's a comedian hosting the Oscars. They're always going to poke fun at whoever's in the audience. And so this year, Jada Pinkett Smith was in the audience with her husband. If you guys don't know, she rocks a low cut. She has alopecia. So that means she suffers from hair loss, pretty severe hair loss. So with that, that's kind of the reason for her haircut. However stylish it might be, if I do say so myself. But anyway, Chris Rock made a joke about it. Like, she's G.I. Jane. It wasn't even that funny. But either way, he made a joke about it. And Will Smith decided that was crossing a boundary, taking it too far. It was not just a joke in poor taste. I guess it was also a joke with some history behind it, because from what I've heard, there's some history with Chris Rock and Jada and Will. Like, I don't know. Chris Rock, Jada, they've gone back and forth for years. Again, take that with a grain of salt. I don't know full story there, but with that all being said, with the history in mind, with the poor taste that was used to make that joke, all of that, Will Smith stepped onto the stage and slapped the shit out of Chris Rock. And Chris Rock didn't retaliate physically, didn't do anything, he was just stunned. And yeah, but it was the slap that was heard around the world. It's unprecedented. Something like that has never happened before. Will Smith still won his Oscar that night, but now he's been barred from the Oscars.
Has he?
Yeah, for, I don't know. They have a certain time limit. Definitely decades. I don't know exactly the time.
Decades? Wow.
Yeah, so for a long time, he's not allowed to step. Maybe it is 1 decade, but either way, years upon years upon years.
I just feel like it's a lot of just extreme reactions all around. I don't know how you feel about it, but first of all, I know a lot of people try to justify the slap of that's his wife, and come on. First of all, the joke wasn't funny, but regardless of whether it was funny or not, it doesn't matter. It wasn't that deep. I don't know the back history and all that.
It was that deep?
It was not that deep.
Why are you slapping a man
alopecia, guys, I'm going to sound
you mean
stupid.
The joke?
The joke.
I thought,
the joke itself.
I heard
the
joke,
slap
wasn't that deep.
The joke was not that deep to me. Her condition, I tried to Google it. Did not seem like it was that deep. I know that, of course, hair.
It's not life-threatening, I guess is what you're trying to say.
That's what I'm trying to say. Yo, what's, people have got made fun of for worse. Magic Johnson was HIV.
I agree.
Joke
that's
about that.
That's actually why I specifically mentioned the thing about there being some history there. I don't know if it was
if there's history there,
different.
If there's history there, it certainly does not justify the reaction. Even if he felt that way and behind the scenes, he was like, if you do that behind the scenes, no one is gonna be I mean, even if people complain about it and it makes the news, it's totally different than literally in that moment getting up on
national television.
I mean, literally the most extreme thing. People have sat through way worse than that.
I agree. I don't know what came over this man. I mean, months later, he ended up, issuing an apology and but something, I don't know what triggered that act of violence. But yeah, I do feel like, I don't know. I feel like I might be an apologist for saying I don't know. I wasn't after the fact. Too many people up in arms. Like Amy Schumer was talking, I was scared for my friend's life. And it was just, it became such a thing, a spectacle, which, I mean, I guess just should.
People always do that. People always like,
on national television, but outside of it being a spectacle, it just felt like everybody was demonizing the guy and like
demonizing who?
Will Smith.
I disagree with that too.
You disagree?
I felt like, maybe it's just my perspective. I felt like I saw more people on Will Smith's side right after the fact, and I was confused. I was like, but he's the one that attacked the person. Like people were just kind of like, people were supporting him. Like, yo, like I understand. Yeah, he's doing
no.
And I was like,
I do know that his son Jaden, right after it happened, like tweeted something like, "Oh yeah, that's how you do it." But I don't think the general public, exactly, like that's his son, whatever. But like I feel like the general public actually came at him strong. I do think he should have been reprimanded in the sense that, like, yeah, the world should chastise you for that type of behavior. That was unnecessary. Like, chill out, bro.
Yeah.
Especially when you're a black man winning an Oscar. Like, that doesn't typically happen. So you should have, you just, like, ended up, like, outshining or diminishing, I should say. The moment.
He made that moment.
He made that.
The only thing we're going to remember, like,
Exactly. So that's really unfortunate. I don't know if he's ever won an Oscar before, but even if he has, this is still a rarity. Exactly. So if this is his first Oscar, that's just so terrible. But anyway, I guess, yeah, slap that was heard around the world. That was one big thing to set us off this year. It was crazy. It was the month of, I do think we talked about the Ukraine and Russia war prior to our hiatus. But I feel like that month was just like that crazy pop culture moment. And then the other end of the pendulum swing, like it was like this huge international,
Yeah, I mean, of course, there's always, unfortunately, like, there's just so much going on in the world. Yeah. But yeah, the Ukraine thing happened.
February was a lot.
Start of the year was like, are they gonna go in? Are they not gonna go in? They invaded. They did that. It's still going on, so there's no conclusion. We're not at the end of it yet. Yeah. I feel like we hear less about it just because that's what naturally happens after a while. It's like, hey, like, it's just people are fighting, people are dying. Unfortunately, it's happening. There's no quote unquote news to report, as sad as that might sound. I think actually the Ukrainian president was just here.
He was
here. I don't know.
I know he just had his meeting at the White House. I don't know if he's still in the country, but yeah. To your point, he was just here. Russia was also in the news for things outside of the war when Brittany Griner was reprimanded. Is that the term? Whatever.
List. She was arrested and they held her. They took her to court. They found her guilty because she had like weed on her, right?
Yeah,
and
she had like a
minuscule
what is that thing called?
Shisha?
Shisha.
No, I don't. Is it shisha that she had?
Yeah, shisha though. Yeah, I think she has some shisha oil or some shit like that. Yeah, I don't know why it was. Okay. I think that's what she had, if I'm not mistaken.
My understanding, but again, clearly you guys can see I'm super uninformed. But my understanding is like she just had some type of weed on her that was like a very low amount, personal consumption,
and it was actually prescribed to her, I believe, by her personal trainer or therapist or whatever it is, PT.
Listen, it's illegal in their country. Yeah. So she, of course, was found guilty, but she was also used. She was used as a political.
Political pawn. I think
she was for sure.
I think. I mean, of course, her family. That was so sad for her. For her, that's crazy. That happened to her. But I think in the back of my mind, as the story was unfolding, I kept thinking to myself, they're gonna do some sort of like prisoner swap or something. Like she's gonna find herself.
I just found it hard to believe that like it would get to that level,
but she actually got like sentenced and stuff.
I guess they don't play games, man. Like when there's literally a war going on. So as much as like we don't feel it here, like there is a war going on, and as much as it's not like a U.S.-Russia war per se, like they're definitely on opposite sides of it. And if you know anything about the war in Ukraine, it's actually because of Ukraine trying to like be more aligned or whatever. So it's like, they were going to take the opportunity. But Britney's back home now. She is safe. She is going to play in the WNBA again. She said already. So, shout out to her. She, crazy year for her, but she's back home.
But she's back. I'm glad about that. But speaking of other international shit shows, the UK went through it this year. The Queen passed away.
R.I.P. We definitely R.I.P. Did we record? Oh no, we didn't.
No, we didn't. She passed away in the summer, like not even the height of the summer, was towards the tail end, like end of August, beginning of September.
What were your feelings when she passed away?
I'm indifferent. Like, I don't know. I wasn't like devastated, but I also wasn't like, hooray, celebrate. I do know that's kind of where most people felt. Like, on
it's so funny because I feel like I'm always like indifferent. So I was definitely indifferent, but then people were like, haha, she's dead. I'm like, wait, I don't know why are we haha, she's dead? Like, are we usually sad when someone dies? But then when they were like, oh God, like think about who she is. And I was like,
okay. She definitely, her reputation precedes her in the sense that, like, she is a monarch, and a lot of the things that the monarchy does and did aren't very good things, especially for people of color and minority groups. Yeah. Or just people who are outside of the sphere. The, like, protected bubble. So, yeah, I mean, there were definitely people rejoicing. I wasn't going as far as to rejoice, but I also wasn't like, poor queen, like, poor, she was also royal old. Family. She lived a long life. She lived a long ass life.
I mean, I don't know her, but I'm sure she enjoyed her life. Exactly. Like, she lived a good life. So, R.I.P. to her, I guess, and prayers to her family and all that. They're good. Yeah, but that happened. I know they changed prime ministers like 10 times.
Exactly. Like, the one guy, got kicked out. Why am I, his name? Boris Johnson? No.
Yeah, it is. Boris Johnson.
Okay. So he got ousted after some time. Like, it took a minute, but he finally
I was about to say Boris Diaw, but Boris Johnson.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I think we got the name right now. But yeah, he got ousted after some controversies, like, he was just guy. Something after another.
He was like the British Trump.
After another. Exactly. He was the British Trump. So he got ousted, and the woman who replaced him, she just didn't have her shit together. She was talking crazy policies about taxes, like tax cuts and blah blah blah, and it just didn't end up making sense. So within I think a month or two, like, literally, she got sworn in by the queen. The queen died like days later, and then she was out like weeks later. It was a pretty quick turnaround, and then somebody else replaced her. So that's the current guy in office. I believe he's a man of color, if I'm not mistaken.
He's of Indian descent. Yeah.
So that's the first of the prime minister's office in the UK. So that's good. But yeah, like, he basically was touting policies that are opposite of the woman that ended up preceding him. So he was sworn in, and we'll see how life goes for the UK now. But yeah, that's basically where we are, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Queen died, different prime ministers. We have one that's currently
it's been kind of quiet on their side, which I think is. I mean, from us, we don't hear anything from them, so I guess that's probably good. I mean, sometimes you need quiet, man. Like, can't always be loud. Yeah, loudness in politics, not always a good thing, because it means something is not going well.
Yeah, and as of a few months ago, on our side, stateside, we just went through a bunch of political shifts and whatnot because
the red wave, is that what we're talking about?
No, the red wave did not happen.
I know.
Okay, cool.
You always have to laugh about the red wave.
I'm like, are you behind up? Did you miss out on the fact that?
No. It's so funny. I did not hear anything about the red wave coming. I only heard that it didn't come. I'm like, there was a wave coming.
Yeah, no, it was definitely more of like a red, like, drip. As opposed to a wave.
It's like when you're at the beach, you're waiting for the wave that's gonna knock you over. And it's it didn't even get to my knee. Like,
exactly.
That one sucked.
Yeah, no, but that was great news for if you're a Democrat or anybody that cares about politics and did not want to see Republicans take over. I mean, I believe we're actually still waiting to figure out like the final count in the House of Representatives, because it just takes some weeks given certain counts in California and things like that, if I'm not mistaken. But either way, we pretty much know that the House is gonna be handled by the Republicans by slim margin, and the Senate, though, was retained by the Democrats. Okay. Shout outs to them. That was a whole thing.
You just shout out the Republicans.
I did not shout out. I said shout outs to the Democrats.
I know. Why are you being like...
Oh, well, I'm definitely not a fan of Republicans. You guys know me at this point. So, shout outs to the Dems. I'm happy about that.
Shout out the Republicans too, man. You guys need love. It's okay.
Anyway. Moving on. Let's keep it moving. What's next?
What's next? Oh man, I thought you were gonna keep transitioning.
Oh, I've been doing such smooth
You're doing really well. I mean,
I will say something that's not on the list that's kind of tied to what we just mentioned is the fact that Roe v. Wade did get overturned. That was a big news. That was a pretty big deal. Again, if you've been following the podcast for a while, you know that this has been something we've touched on in the past. Particularly about the fact that Roe v. Wade could get overturned if the Republicans, basically the conservative party, ended up taking control of the Supreme Court, and then that's what happened. So everybody kept saying these people are being hysterical, like, calm down, that shit ain't gonna happen, and then it happened. So that's kind of the lay of the land right now. I don't think there's really much to say beyond, like, that was wild. Obviously, I personally wasn't happy about it. It was pretty devastating news, but you know,
it is what it is. We'll see what happens. I mean, I think that low key, I don't know. The system doesn't make sense. Like the whole, like, you could be a judge for life type thing. Yeah. The whole political, like, I don't think it should be political. Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me.
It shouldn't be. I mean, in theory, it's not. That's what they try and say.
But like, it 100%
like, it 1,000%.
We literally know before every single case that, like, oh, it's gonna go this way because they're part of this part. Like, I feel like if you're a judge, you should not have a party.
Exactly.
You should be like a ref. You're not allowed to have. And again,
that's what it is apparently in theory, but in practice, it's totally not that. Yeah, like, if you're getting appointed by a political figure, then of course.
Yeah, but it needs to be like, yo, you know, like, because refs for games, you can't have any kind of, like, I'm sure there's a level they'll allow, but, like, you can't have any kind of affiliation.
Well, you know what it is.
But, like, they're clearly affiliated.
But you know what it is, too? Once upon a time, in the recent past, it took way more votes to swear somebody into office, into the bench. Like, you know what I mean? You had to have a majority by far. It couldn't just be like 50 to 51. Yeah, but now that changed a few years back. So once upon a time when it did take like 60 out of 100 Senate members, then you had to win some people over from the other side. But it's not like that anymore. So that's why it's become so much more polarized.
I did not know that. Okay.
Yeah. But anyway, moving on. That wasn't on the list anyway. So
yeah, but that's, I mean, definitely happened. Very huge deal. Yeah. I mean, that's, no one ever thought they would, well, I didn't think I'd ever see the day that would happen. Yeah, what else? Inflation. Everything is more expensive now.
Everything is more expensive.
I mean, you guys already know that. We don't have to tell you that. Like, you guys know you're spending way more money on everything.
Every time I buy groceries, I'm like, shit. Like, this food that does not, like, this food, the same amount that I spent for this amount of food is not lasting the way it used to. That's the real time that I noticed it. I feel like for other people, it was like gas prices.
Prices were crazy.
Or rent prices, whatever it is for you. But for me, it was groceries that made me realize, like, oh,
you know, like the thing with groceries, I never really pay attention to prices and stuff. You know, I just throw it in a bag. Real G's, real bollas. I'm just joking though. I'm talking about milk and water, not expensive things.
No, but it is. But what I mean is that, like, it would be like, oh, like, I'm used to spending this amount for this amount of food, and it lasted for 2 weeks, and now it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, no, I definitely noticed it as well, because now I go shopping a lot with my mom. My mom is like, this thing is expensive. Like, she's always complaining. She tracks every dollar, and I'm like, is it more expensive? And like, after a while, I'm like, oh damn, like, it is more expensive. Like, everything is just crazy. So, you know, hopefully I think it's coming down a little bit. Gas prices are down at the moment.
Yeah, gas prices are down.
I definitely bought like $25 of gas yesterday, and it went a really long way. And I was surprised. I was like, what?
Yeah, no,
$25?
Gas definitely went down. But yeah, as a whole, inflation is definitely still a thing. Of course. The Fed still keeps trying to, like, figure out, like, the right balance of increase versus slowing down the increases of interest rates. So it is still a thing that we're all going
according
through.
to a lot of